it's taken a long time to realize that I'm the same person and people accept me exactly the way I am. Wake up in the morning, and mornings aren't usually my favorite time because I like to sleep in a lot, but and then I get in the chair and I usually have like all my stuff setting out. I'm pretty OCD about that kind of thing anyway. So then I go into my bathroom, and that's when I get ready. I usually take kind of a long time, but like just brushing my teeth and doing makeup and hair and stuff. I guess I feel like, not that it's just important just for show, but it makes me feel more confident even in spite of like everything, like with the chair and stuff. I guess it gives me feel like I have an extra boost or something. And then I will sometimes get breakfast, not usually, but if I have a little extra time, I might go in the kitchen and make like a bagel, or on the very special occasions, some cinnamon rolls or something like that. Usually in the mornings, I don't eat breakfast. Sometimes I will try to make something, but my favorite thing, if I do, definitely has to be cinnamon rolls. It is my weakness. It took me forever to actually get used to pulling things out of the oven because it is pretty like awkward. It's kind of awkward, but I love to cook, so I'm using it all the time, and bake mainly. So I've learned to kind of maneuver around the kitchen pretty well. Maneuvering around the kitchen has been something I've definitely had to get used to because everything's higher and it's not always convenient to get. So I've had to make my own little adaptations here and there. Some of them a little more different than others. But one thing that I use, I'll go get it. This. I have a love-hate relationship with this guy. He can be pretty useful to get things, but when they start to plummet towards your head, it's not the best situation. Something like this little spray bottle up here, if you can see it, I can get that pretty easily. But this Crisco, whenever I try to get that, I have to move everything out of the way because this won't hold on to it, so it'll just fall. When I'm just hanging out, sometimes for chores or stuff, I will, do the dishes or just put them away, or laundry or something like that. When I try to put stuff up into the cabinet, sometimes I will do things a little differently. I like to be kind of independent in that way, so whatever I can do on my own. But let's see. I will just kind of stand up like this and then push. on the counter. And then I can get whatever I need to and put it up. And the first time my mom saw me do this, she wasn't too crazy about it. But on the regular mornings, just go to school and get there and then stay for a few hours. I try to do, everything that I would normally do, even if a wheelchair wasn't a problem. The thing about that is it usually takes me 5 more steps to do that thing than it would somebody else, because I have to think of so many more things, and it takes even more energy to just do regular things sometimes. So I think in a way that's made me more determined though, because I wanted to overcome those things and do it in spite of, and then that gives me extra to do other things, I guess. Up till I graduated high school, my mom drove me everywhere and I didn't have my license, but a few months ago, or about 6 months ago, I actually got my license. Oh, it felt so good to get my license. I felt so free, like more, I guess, even than, other people when they get their license, because I had never just felt that feeling like I could go anywhere I wanted to, even just go take like a walk somewhere, because I really couldn't do that. So this just opened up a whole new world, you could say. So got the knob right here, and that helps to get some traction, or so I can turn the wheel with one hand, and then the hand control is down here, and I push down on it to brake, and then I'll pull it for the gas. So my mom leaves earlier in the morning, and I do everything pretty much by myself, like going to school and work, and working out too, and anything else I want to do. So
Madeline had such a unique determination and work ethic. Those goals quickly expanded to begin walking again, and she's worked very hard and achieved those goals. She was a spinal cord injury patient that was requiring some lower extremity bracing just to help her do some daily functions, very minimal at that point. She had very little control of her lower extremities, and our goal at that point in time was just to help her basically transfer out of her wheelchair or out of her bed into her wheelchair and vice versa. Spinal cord injury can be so overwhelming that patients can, give in to the work that's required. And it takes a strong mind and a strong work ethic to achieve these, and Madeline has definitely been the exception to most rule.
Madeline came into our office per an appointment that was made to have some adjustments and modifications made to the braces that she was wearing at the time. She was having some difficulty with them functioning correctly and her being able to walk correctly in them. And I had not met with her before that, and prior to that I was not aware of the type of braces that she was wearing. So our first encounter and first appointment was a lot of history, getting to know Madeline, getting to know what type of braces she had used in the past, and then trying to make the proper corrections and adjustments to the braces that she was wearing. I looked at the type of brace that she was wearing, which was also a stance control brace. It was a different system. A stance control brace is essentially a knee, ankle, foot orthosis, or a long leg brace that is capable of locking and unlocking during the gait cycle. In other words, instead of a brace that just locks into full extension and won't bend, this particular type of system automatically locks when it's supposed to, if it works correctly, and unlocks when it's supposed to so that the limb can move forward. traditional type of braces, you only have two settings, really. It's either locked or it's unlocked, and most patients have to walk with that older style in a locked position, which causes other gait deviations and problems with joints above where the bracing occurs. So a stance control type brace tries to support the joint while keeping good gait mechanics as well. And the type of braces that Madeline was wearing is a very good type system, except for it relies on where her knee is in three-dimensional space. Subsequently, because of that, they weren't unlocking for her. So basically, she was in a fully locked brace and it wouldn't articulate. So one of the things we first tried to do with that is, because the braces she was using, the ankle joint was locked at 90 degrees and she had no range of motion. One of the things we tried to adjust is to adjust that ankle range of motion to try and make the braces a little more dynamic for her so that the knee joints would unlock when they needed to. We also did some adjustments on the knee joints themselves. There's a mechanism in there that's a pendulum that you can adjust where the timing is as well. And that was really my first encounter with Madeline. It was trying to help make those braces more functional for her and for her ambulation.
When I was 10 years old, I was in a car accident with my mom, and I had a spinal cord injury. One of the things they told me was that because of it, I would never be able to walk again, and that I would have to use a wheelchair for the rest of my life. The only thing that I remember about the accident was getting into the car that day or that night, and when I was getting in the car, I normally sit on the far left side in the back, and when I was getting in, I thought, you know, I'm gonna sit in the middle today, just mix it up a little bit, and that's a decision that probably saved my life, because when we were hit on the side, the left side, and I would have just been crushed, but I wasn't, and ironically enough, the lap belt in the middle was what caused the spinal cord injury. Because it threw me forward so much that the pressure went straight to my spine, and I have a contusion, or like a bruise on my spine. After the wreck, I was very shy, and I'd always been kind of a shy girl, but I think the accident really enhanced that, I guess, because I felt so different, and I didn't know if people would accept me. But I think it's important to see, even in your situation, no matter what you're going through, because everyone has their problem or injury in an emotional way they feel like they can't get over, but it's just overcoming that and seeing that, you know, I can move past this and I can still be open and friendly and, you know, still live. And I think that's important, no matter who you are, to understand that life is gonna happen, and sometimes life is gonna just kick your butt, but you gotta keep going and you gotta keep moving through.
Well, Madeline was in the intensive care unit for 3 days, and then when she came out of the coma, her first words to me, the first words that she said were, Mommy, I'm not Madeline anymore. She knew something was different, but she didn't know what it was. And I said, yes, you're Madeline. She said, no, Mommy, something's wrong. And I said, well, sweetheart, right now you're not gonna be able to use your legs, but it's temporary. You're gonna get through this. And that was our first conversation, my first conversation with my 10-year-old daughter after she was injured. Well, we did she did conventional therapy for several years. And the thing with Madeline is she progresses so quickly that she meets all the goals the therapist has for her. So she kept getting discharged from physical therapy because they felt like she was so strong and so motivated, and she met their checklist. And so they would say, well, we can't keep her anymore. So I began researching other therapies that were more progressive and more proactive, and I found a center in Detroit, Michigan, and decided to take her up there for the summer and just see what the therapy was all about.
It was just us. We did it together, and I think that's a lot of why we are so close. Is we've had to go through some pretty hard and scary stuff sometimes, but we stuck together, and we made it work.
We're still speaking.
Exactly.
And 9 months later, we were still up there, and they had so many different kinds of therapies and biofeedback, and they taught her how to walk with braces that are not locked so that she could learn how to bend her knees. And it was a wonderful experience. We would still be there if we could have made it work, but we had a home and family here, so we had to come back.
I feel like most people, when they see her, they see a girl in a wheelchair. And I mean, that's not what I see. I mean, I see the wheelchair, but that's not what I'm looking at. And I don't know, I feel like she has to go through a lot. She's been through a lot, and she keeps, such a positive attitude about everything. And, that's what's inspiring. It's like, she's going through what she's going through, that just, it's gotta be hard. I mean, she's just positive about everything, and that's inspiring to me. It's like, I might have a little thing going on here or there, but, when I look at her, it's like, that's nothing.
We're actually starting to what we're doing with me assisting her with the lift with her foot. What we're actually doing is we're actually mimicking as if she was actually, say for instance, someone is walking upstairs. So what we're doing is we're actually starting to work with her hip flexors in here. So when you're walking up steps, one of the natural things that's going to happen is you're going to put your hip in a flexion. And so this is what we're doing, is we're starting to work with that to establish the nerve and the muscle starting to talk to each other again. And so what we're doing is we're actually establishing neuromuscular reconditioning. And that's actually where, since she's had the injury, so we're using this particular exercise to start to get the muscles and the nerves starting to communicate back and forth. And since we've been doing it, Madeline said that one of the things that she has noticed is that she's actually wanting to take a rest. She's actually wanting to use her legs more. She notices that her legs are wanting to get more involved in it. And you can actually, if you can kind of explain more what you've been seeing.
Sometimes in my day-to-day life, I feel these more involuntary responses, like when I'm lifting my legs with my hands, my leg will want to contribute to if I'm getting in the car or something. And one of the hard things when I'm exercising is wanting to move that muscle, but it not responding. And with this, I can think it in my head, and still feel that motion. So I feel like it's starting to connect things with my brain.
But one of the things that I can say about Madeline is her determination is absolutely amazing, and it shows. I mean, we can be training in here, and people will come up and they will say to her, you're such an inspiration, when you're here. I just wanted you to know that. But it's funny because it's just not necessarily when she's with me. I can be here on off days when we're not together, and I can be in the gym, and I've literally had people walk up to me and tell me that she inspires them.
Hi, my name is Madeline Delp. I'm 18 years old, and I'm going on a journey, one step at a time, to walking again. And my question is, will you come with me?